We mark the pleats down on the fabric. We fold the first line upward to the second one. Then we fold it over the edge so that the armpit curves matched up and pin them down in place. And repeating on the other side. We apply the basting stitch to the edge. We are going to do the adjustable shoulder straps. We need to make 2 bias tapes. In each tape, fold the right sides of the fabric face together. Applying the top stitches 1/4 inch from the edge, we cut off its seam allowance using the hook to flip the right side out. Then we give it a press. We cut a 2 inches strip in each string that we've just made. Now we have 2 2-inch strips and 2 20-inch strings. Next step, we put the shoulder straps of the 20-inch string on the edge of the third line at the front neckline with 45 degrees upward and stitch them down. After that, we fold it. Where the fold line is, there are notches that you cut into at the third line. We fold the right side of the neck downward and make sure that the armpit curves match up. We stitch it with a 1/3 inch seam allowance. Before turning around, we trim the corner off and give it some notches so that it folds more nicely. Turning the right side out, we apply the understitching, which is 1 millimeter to the inside so that it is not visible from the outside. On the wrong side of the fabric, we mark the darts and sew them down. Then ironing the darts toward the seam side. We're going to put the ring into the shutter, then stitching it to make a loop. We attach the shutter next to the dart. Now I'm cutting off my fusible interfacing and fusing this to the back facing from the silk, wrong side to the wrong side, and again holding 10 seconds. Appling overlock stitch in the edge of the back facing. And we also do it for the bottom edge of the front facing. We are applying an overlocked stitch on the side seam of the front body and back body. Then we iron all the overlocked edges. Because the 45-degree bias cut will cause the stretches and disorder of the fabric easily. Therefore, we need to double check whether the edges of the front and back dress match each other. If they don't match or are longer, we place the fabric on the table and try to adjust it till getting the same size as the other, then give it a press. the fabric will be shrunk back to the wanted length. Place back facing up on the back body, which the right sides are faced together, and pin them in place. We sew it with a 1/3 inch seam allowance, then make some notches at its edge, flipping the right side out and applying an understitching with 1 millimeter in the facing side. Then folding the facing inward and giving it a press. First, we do the side slit, the left side of the dress. The back body is topped on the front body, with the right sides faced together. We measure the sewing length, which should be 18 1/3 inches, and mark it down. Pining them together does not include the facing of the front dress. Stitching over the seam line with a 3/5 inch seam allowance till the mark. Don't forget to backstitch at 2 ends. Following this task, we fold the upper front facing down to cover the back, then stitch it down and trim the corner off. Then, turning the right side out, in the side slit part, we pin the seam down with a 3/5 inch and iron it. We sew it down with the seam line a 1/3 inch away from the edge. The best tip for sewing an invisible zipper is to just open it first and just take your iron and just push the coils open, so it's going to feed a lot easier through your invisible zipper foot. We're going to determine the length of the zipper. It depends on the size. XS to L is 14 inches, and XL to 4XL is 16 inches. Marking the bottom stop of the zipper on its wrong side, ensuring the bottom stop of the zipper is also marked on the seam allowance of the dress. We pin the front and back pieces together at the lower seam side and stitch them with a 3/5 inch seam allowance. Pinning the right side of the zipper and the fabric are faced together, the edges of them should be aligned. We don't pin the zipper on the facings. Using an invisible zipper foot to sew on the seam line till the stop ends that are marked. Finishing the zipper by tacking its tape ends down inwardly and backstitching its top and bottom ends. We fold the upper back down and stitch it on the top of the back zipper side, trimming the top end corner, flipping it back. Do the same on the other side of the zipper. If the zipper is too long, we need to cut its leftover. Neaten the bottom edge of the dress with serge stitching. Then we iron it to reduce the elasticity of the fabric. Folding the edge 3/8 inch upward to the wrong side. Applying the top stitch to make a hem about 5/16 inch width. We pass the end of the longer strap over and under the double ring. After that, we loop the end of the longer strap over the ring in the shutter. We continue passing it across the middle of the double ring and loop it around the middle part in the inward direction. Then we stitch it down with back stitches. Finally, our dress has been done. Now we're going to give the dress an ironed press one more time to complete our work.